Canadian firm wins $212 million deal to train British soldiers. The British Army has locked in a 15-year training contract worth roughly $212 million with a Canadian defense company that has become one of the country's most reliable simulation and training providers overseas. Calian Group, an Ottawa-based company that builds and delivers training programs, engineering, and other mission-critical services for defense and space clients, announced Tuesday that its UK subsidiary, Calian UK, has signed a long-term agreement with Raytheon UK to support the British Army's collective training service, known by the acronym ACTS. Raytheon UK is the lead contractor for a consortium called Omnia Training, and Raytheon itself operates as a business unit of the American defense giant RTX. Collective training refers to exercises that bring soldiers, commanders, and allied forces together in realistic, often high-stress operational environments designed to test how well units coordinate, communicate, and fight together before they ever deploy for real. It differs from individual soldier training, which focuses on a single person's marksmanship or physical fitness, by instead testing whether an entire company, battalion, or coalition force can function as one system under pressure. Western militaries have leaned harder into this kind of training over the past decade as combat has grown more complex, requiring infantry, armor, artillery, air support, and increasingly drones and electronic warfare units to operate in sync rather than in isolation. The new agreement takes effect in October 2026, once the current contract, known as Project NUMIDIAN, wraps up. Calian has run NUMIDIAN for years as its support vehicle for delivering collective training services to the British Army, exposing troops to contemporary battlefield threats meant to mirror what they might actually face in a modern conflict. The transition to ACTS extends that relationship rather than replacing it, giving Calian continuity on one of its largest defense training contracts, while folding the work into a broader modernization effort the British Army has undertaken alongside industry partners. Chris Pogue, Calian's president of Defense and Space, framed the deal as part of a larger philosophy about what actually prepares troops for combat. Military readiness begins long before a mission starts. It begins with training that prepares troops to operate with confidence in complex, high-pressure environments, said Chris Pogue, President, Defense and Space, Calian. We're proud to continue supporting the British Army through ACTS alongside Raytheon UK and our Omnia training partners. This agreement reflects the trust our allies place in Calian's expertise and strengthens our position as a leading provider of collective training and simulation solutions that respond effectively to real-world conditions. James Gray, the managing director and chief executive of Raytheon UK, described the Omnia Training Consortium as broader ambition for reshaping how the British Army trains. Omnia Training brings together world-class organizations with proven expertise in military training and simulation, said James Gray, managing director and chief executive, Raytheon UK. Our UK-based team of innovators, engineers, and experts will give soldiers and commanders a new level of training realism and set an example for effective collaboration between the Army and industry. Under ACTS, Calian will keep delivering specialist collective training services while helping modernize how the British Army trains through what the company describes as advanced digital, synthetic, and integrated training capabilities. Synthetic training refers to simulation environments, often built around virtual reality, computer modeling, or networked simulators that let soldiers rehearse combat scenarios without the cost, safety risk, or environmental footprint of live fire exercises using real ammunition and vehicles across open terrain. Militaries around the world have invested heavily in synthetic training over the past decade because it allows far more repetitions of a scenario at a fraction of the cost, and because it can recreate threats like mass drone attacks or electronic warfare jamming, that would be dangerous or impossible to simulate safely in a live environment. The deal arrives as Western militaries broadly reassess how they prepare troops for the kind of warfare unfolding in Ukraine, where drones, electronic warfare, and long-range precision strikes have upended assumptions about what makes a unit survivable on a modern battlefield. Britain has repeatedly signaled that it wants its own training programs to reflect those lessons rather than rehearsing for a previous era of conflict, and Calian's legacy work under Project NUMIDIAN specifically emphasized exposing troops to what the company calls contemporary threats, language that points toward exactly that kind of updated battlefield realism. For Calian, the agreement reinforces a defense business built over decades around collective training, simulation, systems engineering, and interoperability, the ability of different military units, equipment, and even allied nations to work together smoothly despite using different systems and procedures. The company has positioned itself as a specialist that helps militaries and coalition partners operate effectively across what it calls increasingly complex, multi-domain environments, a term referring to combat that spans land, air, sea, cyber, and space simultaneously rather than unfolding in a single traditional battle space.